so happy to see you again, because today we are continuing with the most important topic, which is called training for domestic workers. So training for home employees, we're talking about that. In the last episode, we spoke mainly about the compliance and HR aspect related to domestic workers. And just to recap, because I like recapping, is to say that as much as you get an employment contract from your corporate or your government or whatever type of job you're doing, it is also important for your home employee to get a formal employment contract. That employment contract is going to help you and just make sure that you don't go through a lot of headaches should there be any CCMA or labor court issues. So as I mentioned before, I've been part of the CCMA task team, where we were looking at all the domestic workers issues in South Africa, domestic workers cases and what causes that and how we can mitigate. And I mentioned this in my previous episode to say, listen guys, there are domestic workers issues that don't necessarily need to go to CCMA. The issue becomes communication. So if you need someone to arbitrate or someone to mitigate, give us a shout. Let's come in. Let's have a discussion with your domestic worker. Let's have a discussion with you. And I think one of the most challenging issues within the domestic worker space is its cultural differences, because South Africa is so diverse, guys. I know personally, and I'm going to give an example with my personal situation right now. When I go to the supermarket, I'm not allowed, any retail store, I'm not allowed to take money directly from the cashier. You know, they're supposed to put everything down. So those who understand these things would understand what I'm talking about. And it becomes so devastating more for white people. And I'm going to say this because white people sometimes don't understand certain cultural behaviors from black domestic workers. So, for example, in our culture, when you respect someone, you don't look them in the eye. So personally, when I meet someone, because right, I'm still an initiate. And when I meet someone who's already completed, so this is someone who will be wearing two skins. So when I meet them in the mall, I'm the one who's supposed to go to them and togozisa them. Because according to hierarchy in terms of spirituality, they are higher than me at this stage. I hope to finish and I hope to be higher. But I have to go and togozisa them. It doesn't matter whether that person is a plumber standing by the corner. It doesn't matter that person is a painter, whatever. I meet someone in the corner on the street. As long as I meet them, I have to submit and greet them with respect, right? That I understand because I'm an initiate, and therefore I'm taught that if you meet a sangoma, inyanga, anyone who's called a prophet, an apostolic or whatever, even libone, lasioni, if you meet that person, you must give them a certain degree of respect because they already crossed over than you have. You're still busy with your process. So now in terms of cultural differences, guys, in South Africa, we are so diverse that sometimes culturally we don't understand certain things. And certain people, certain races will think, oh, auntie is not talking back, therefore she's disrespectful. She's not looking me in the eye, therefore she's disrespectful. She's not. So I think it becomes important that as a country, we engage in some kind of diversity workshop where, especially within the domestic worker sector, where we really train employers and employees different cultures and diversity and things that goes along with that. And the biggest thing that I've also have seen, guys, I have videos and footage to last me for days of employers that will say, oh, this one is a sangoma or is a what you call an apostle, blue and white man, bas group. You know, kimupostola or kimusioni. So therefore, Lindy, why they have this wartime, they have this, this is against me. And because of lack of knowledge and understanding what these things are for, we tend to judge people based on that. And within the domestic worker space, it's quite rife. It's something that's quite rife when we deal with issues of employers and employees. We deal with such things. It's so unfortunate that somehow we need to meet at the middle and understand. And now I feel like if we understand each other's cultures, understand each other's spirituality and belief system, we can actually react better to certain situations, right? I've been exposed to this space where I'm wearing beads. Therefore, there's certain footages that people will send me and say, oh, this domestic worker was using this thing in my house. And I discourage domestic workers from using things in people's houses. Use your things in your own house, Keida. Please, don't use your things in other people's houses. But because I'm exposed to certain things, I realize, oh, this is actually harmless, man. It's actually to protect you. But obviously, domestic workers don't come forth and have that discussion with you. So I would pray that there is an investor there, or a funder, or a supporter of spiritualism who can support us in just having a national campaign, a roadshow, something where we talk about diversity and we talk about spiritualism, and we speak about culture, so that we can meet each other halfway. So today, guys, we're talking about training, and I just spoke about this so much because it's a situation and an aspect that really affect us in this space. But we're going back to job spec. It starts with you, and most employers won't like me because I said that. It doesn't start with the domestic worker. It starts with you having a clear spec of what you're looking for, the type of person and everything. It starts there, guys. Have your family involved. But today we're talking part of the HR and compliance services we're talking about. In the last episode, we spoke about the importance of making sure that the domestic worker is registered for UIF, they've got COIDA, they get monthly pay slip. Listen, it's not as tedious and strenuous and tiring as you think. There are organizations like Made For You, like other organizations that can help you with this. Every month, I know with our system, you're able to literally go in, lodge a complaint, lodge a compliment, request a reliever, request a replacement, retrieve past pay slips. You know, it's a full-on HR bouquet that we give you access to, right? And I doubt that I'm the only organization that does that. So there are organizations out there that actually can help you with making sure that you are compliant with your domestic workers, UIF, COIDA, you have monthly pay slips for them, and if there's a complaint, you can lodge it there and record it. If you've got a compliment, you can lodge it and record it. If there is disciplinary issues, you can equally record them in that particular portal. And if there's a case in future, a legal case of CCMA or labor issues or anything of that sort, you are able to then go back to those records, right? We are able to assist you with disciplinary guidelines and stuff like that. Now today, guys, I'm talking about HR and compliance, and the biggest concept I'm going to talk about, besides diversity and cultural differences, which is another topic for another day, for another episode. I literally need 3-4 episodes to talk about diversity and cultural differences and how we can meet each other in the middle in regards to that. Because I really believe that South Africans can coexist and can benefit from each other just by understanding how each other lives. But today I'm talking about training. Training, bo medeme, libo anti, actually. Training becomes important. And why I'm saying this is because, remember, if you're an accountant, I studied auditing, right? And I studied business management, and I studied business strategy with GAPS, and I did this with UNIS, I did this with 2U2 and all these things. If you have studied a particular qualification and specializes in that qualification and are hired to perform in regards to that qualification, you are in a better position to do a better job than someone who is just roped in, maybe based on nepotism or whatever that may be happening, to perform that particular task. Now, in regards to domestic workers, is the same. Most of us as employers disregard, number one, induction. Can you believe I said that? Your employers will be like, why should we induct her? I mean, it's a house, she just needs to clean. No. You need to create a professional environment. So the first day she comes, you must induct her. And bathroom. No, take your time. Actually, take a day off. And say, Auntie, I have a list in front of me. Today, I'm going to perform what we call an induction, which is sometimes called orientation, for you to understand my house. It doesn't matter how small or big or medium your house is. You need to induct somebody. Therefore, you need to say, number one, welcome, Auntie, this is my household. Remember, we spoke about you making sure that you are explicit and honest about the characteristics of people within that household. Equally, we're talking about induction and orientation. to say first day they can come in, maybe they came in, they need to sleep a bit, you show them their room. The following morning they are refreshed. That is in a case of a stay in. If it's a stay out, you have a day before they start where you do your induction or your orientation. Madam, they did the same. When you joined corporate or government or wherever you're working or you started your business, there was some kind of induction and orientation that was done. So we need to equally bring that into the domestic workers sector. So when your domestic worker or your nanny or your care worker start day one, madam, today you're not working, auntie, you are going to be orientated. Number one, if auntie can read, good for them. If they can't, it's fine. And if you want to record it, do that. That works for your favor, because auntie can be going to CCMA and say, I had no idea what I had to do, what was expected of me. So if you're able to record it, please do that. If you can't, we understand it, but there must be a document that auntie can sign and you can sign just to consent and to say, I acknowledge that I attended an orientation or an induction on this day. So therefore, on that day, you take auntie through to say, welcome to our household. Let's start. This is the garage. In the garage, I want you to do nothing because the gardener cleans the garage. Or I want you to sweep the garage once a week. This is the ascalery. In the ascalery, there's a dishwasher, a laundry washer, and what. This is what I want you to do in this particular room. This is what I expect. Show them around. Show them all the rooms and tell them what is your expectation in regards to your job spec, in regards to your work schedule. The induction and orientation, it's so important, guys. Don't take it for granted because you had to do it. You were forced to do it within your corporate or your government or your whatever kind of job you're doing. So you need to also give auntie the same respect. Show her the household, everything, the yard, what is expected, what is not expected, right? So when they are inducted or they've been orientated around the house and they are comfortable and they know on which day what is expected of them to do at what time and so forth and so on, then you move on. Part of the induction and orientation is introducing them to your family and say, listen, at 2 o'clock they're all coming back from work, or 4 o'clock if that's a stay in, listen, I want you to meet them. Or on a particular Saturday, if it's someone traveling, stay out, have that one Saturday to do the orientation and the induction. So therefore you introduce them to every member of the family and make them comfortable to say, okay, this is so-and-so, this is, I don't expect you to remember all the names. Like myself, I've got 3 kids and my sisters and everybody that I'm staying in the house with. I don't expect you to remember them. Now, as time goes on, you remember them, right? So make sure you induct them and you show them the orientation of the house and the people, the occupants within the house. If you got tenants that are staying in the same residence or in the same yard, make sure that she's aware of who they are. She doesn't have to interact with them, please, but she needs to know who they are and what they do and what is expected of her in terms of those rooms that are outside. Are we together, madam? Yeah. So it's part of training, right? The second element of training is the formal training. So most employers are not aware, madam, are aware for domestic service as it's a registered and accredited qualification. It's called domestic service. It's NQF level 1. It's where we train someone to work as a professional domestic worker. So we start with the simple things, time management, personal hygiene, the importance of what you do as uandi, and then we go into the skills. We talk about how to maintain your kitchen, how to clean your kitchen, time management, work schedule, how to clean the children's rooms, how to clean the main bedrooms, when do you need to change the bedding sheets, when to change the curtain, when to clean the oven, to defrost the fridge, all those things. We talk about the skill. So that is a full-on qualification and it's called domestic service, NQF level 1, accredited and very well known by SAQA. And we've got the second qualification called hygiene and cleaning. So hygiene and cleaning takes about 12 months. They don't usually attend every day, so usually attend on Saturdays and so forth, but there is a certain number of hours that they are required to do the theory and the practical. Obviously the practical, they will then do it in your household, where we'll then give you a formal document where you say, oh, she's done this, she's good at this, or improve on that, and so forth and so on. So same with domestic service, there is documents that are given to the employer to sort of assess and see how the domestic worker is doing, because that takes about 3 months. Hygiene and cleaning, 12 months. And then we've got housekeeping. So housekeeping also is a formal qualification. It falls within what we call the Cath Sitter. It's more training on someone who needs to work in a hotel or work in a B&B or a lodge and so forth and so on. And there is simple on-site training. So there are domestic workers that are quite good with certain things, but then all of a sudden you have a small baby and you need them to take care of an infant. So you need them to be trained on child minding or being a nanny. So therefore there is available on-site training where a facilitator comes to your household and train them.